Aries, pause for a second, before you scroll, before you doubt this moment. Because what's surrounding you right now is not random. There's a pressure in the air, like everything you've been holding back is about to break open. You may feel restless, on edge, like something big is coming, but you can't name it yet. Listen closely. The past is already losing its grip on you, and the fears that followed you for years no longer get to decide what happens next. Take a slow breath with me. Let the old weight leave your body. If this message found you, Aries, it's because you're standing at the edge of a turning point most people never experience. Stay with me. Trust yourself. And if your heart feels this, comment below and subscribe, because what comes next changes everything. Aries, I want you to hear this as if I'm sitting right beside you right now, not talking to a crowd, just you and me. There's something different surrounding you these days, not loud, not dramatic on the surface, but unmistakable. It feels like the air before a storm, that quiet pressure, that sense that everything has been holding its breath. You may not be able to explain it, but your body knows, your spirit knows. You wake up restless. Your thoughts circle without landing. Even silence feels charged, like it's waiting for permission to speak. This isn't anxiety. And it's not confusion, it's recognition. You're standing at a threshold most people walk past without ever noticing. A place where life pauses for just a moment and asks a single question. Are you ready to step forward without knowing every detail? What's happening now isn't a small adjustment. It's not a gentle shift. It's the kind of turn that rewrites direction. That's why it feels intense. That's why it feels unfamiliar. Because nothing about this moment is meant to feel comfortable. You've outgrown the version of yourself that knew how to survive, and survival is no longer the assignment. There's a quiet fire building in you, not the reckless kind, the focused kind, the kind that doesn't explode, it ignites. You may feel it when you're alone, when old memories surface for no clear reason, when emotions rise without asking permission. This is not the past returning to haunt you, it's the past loosening its grip. Every layer you shed right now is making room. Not for chaos, for clarity. And clarity can feel disorienting at first, because once you see what's possible, you can't pretend you don't. There's a sense that something is aligning behind the scenes, not forcing you, inviting you. You don't need to chase it, you don't need to rush, but you do need to stay present, because this moment doesn't repeat itself. What you're feeling is the signal that a new chapter is already opening, not someday, now. You may question yourself, that's natural. You may wonder why things feel heavier right before they feel lighter. That's part of the crossing. Growth rarely announces itself with comfort. It arrives with awareness, and awareness changes everything. Take a breath here, let your shoulders soften, let the urgency fall away. You're not behind, you're right on time. There is nothing wrong with you for feeling this deeply. In fact, it's your greatest strength. You were never meant to live quietly inside limits that were built for someone else. And as this moment continues to unfold, you'll begin to notice signs you can't ignore, moments that confirm you're being guided, not pushed. So, stay with me, stay open, trust the calm beneath the intensity. Because what you're stepping into next isn't about becoming someone new. It's about finally meeting the version of yourself that's been waiting patiently for you to arrive. And we're only just beginning. Aries, there's something I need you to understand gently. Not with logic, but with your body. With your breath. The chapter you've been living inside for so long has already closed. I know your mind hasn't caught up yet. That's normal. The mind always arrives late to endings that the soul decided on a long time ago. That's why you still feel echoes, old fears whispering at night, questions that no longer make sense but still knock on your door. You didn't imagine those fears. They were real. They protected you when you needed protection. But they are no longer in charge. There were years when doubt followed you like a shadow. Years when you learned to second-guess yourself because others did not know how to hold your fire. Invisible limits were placed on you, by voices that sounded confident, by expectations that were never yours to carry. And slowly, without realizing it, you learned to shrink parts of yourself just to keep the peace. But here's the truth. Those limits never belonged to you. They were borrowed beliefs, inherited fears, old agreements you made just to survive. And survival is finished now. That uneasy feeling you've been carrying lately is not a warning, it's a release. It's what happens when an old skin begins to loosen, when something that once fit perfectly no longer belongs on your body. It itches, it feels uncomfortable, it can even feel frightening. Not because something bad is coming, but because something false is leaving. Your nervous system is learning a new rhythm, one without constant tension, one without bracing for impact. And that can feel strange at first. You may catch yourself wanting to return to familiar pain just because it feels known. But you don't live there anymore. The past has no authority here. Not your mistakes, not the versions of you that did the best they could with what they knew at the time. Those chapters deserve respect, not residence. You don't need to fight the past. You don't need to prove anything to it. It's already finished its work. What you're feeling now is the quiet after a long battle. The moment when the armor finally comes off and the body realizes it's safe to breathe again. And in that quiet, something else begins to rise. A softer strength, a clearer voice, a sense of self that no longer asks for permission. You may not fully trust this calm yet. That's okay. Trust doesn't arrive all at once. It builds, slowly, honestly. Stay here with me for a moment longer. Let the weight you've been carrying slide off your shoulders. You are not losing anything important. You are reclaiming yourself, and as the dust settles, you'll begin to notice how much lighter your steps feel when you're no longer dragging yesterday behind you. There is space opening now. Space for clarity, space for truth, space for a future that doesn't require you to abandon yourself. And as we keep moving forward together, you'll feel it. That quiet certainty, that inner yes, the kind that doesn't shout but never lies. Just ahead, there's something waiting to be activated in you. Not rushed, not forced, simply ready when you are. Aries, come a little closer with me here. This part is quiet, and it is honest. You have always looked strong from the outside, capable, steady. The one who keeps going when others slow down. People see your fire and assume it never gets tired, but they do not see the weight you have carried in silence. There were moments when you said you were fine, not because you were, but because explaining the truth felt heavier than holding it alone. You took on responsibilities that were never meant to be yours. You stepped in when others stepped back. You absorbed pressure without complaint because someone had to. And that someone became you. Money worries did not just live in your head, they lived in your chest, in the way your breath shortened when the numbers did not add up, in the way your shoulders stayed tight even when you tried to rest. Your body remembers everything. The late nights, the constant alertness, the feeling that you had to stay sharp because no one else would catch you if you fell. Headaches were not random. Sleepless nights were not accidents. The tension in your muscles was your nervous system speaking the words you never said out loud. There were conflicts you avoided, not because you were weak, but because you were exhausted, too tired to explain yourself again, too tired to defend your truth to people who were never listening. So you swallowed it. You moved forward. You told yourself it would pass. And for a while, that worked. But here is what I want you to hear gently. Your strength was never meant to be proven through suffering. Endurance is not your destiny. It was only a phase. The universe has been watching quietly as you held everything together with willpower and grit. And now it is asking you to stop. Not because you failed, but because you no longer need to survive this way. The pressure you feel now is not punishment. It is an intervention, a loving one. Something deep inside you knows that continuing like this would cost you pieces of yourself you cannot afford to lose. So, the silence is breaking, not loudly, but clearly. You may feel emotions rising without warning. You may feel anger you never allowed yourself to feel, or sadness that surprises you with its depth. This is not weakness surfacing. This is honesty returning. Your body is no longer willing to carry unspoken truths. Your soul is asking for alignment, for integrity, for relief, and you are allowed to answer that call. You do not have to explain yourself to everyone. You do not have to carry what is not yours anymore. You do not have to be the strong one every second of the day. Rest is not quitting, boundaries are not betrayal, and choosing yourself does not make you selfish. It makes you whole. Stay with this feeling for a moment. Let it move through you without judgment. There is nothing wrong with you for feeling this way. You have been brave for a very long time, and as this weight begins to lift even just a little, you may notice something else starting to stir. A readiness, a quiet momentum, a sense that your energy is about to be redirected not toward holding things together, but toward building something new, something that supports you back. We are not rushing there yet. We are simply allowing the truth to surface. And when it does, you will feel it. Not as pressure, but as permission. Permission to move differently, to choose differently, to finally let your strength work for you instead of against you. And just ahead, there is a shift waiting to meet you the moment you decide to stop carrying the past on your shoulders and place your hands on what is ready to grow next. Aries, stay right here with me. Do not rush past this feeling, because something inside you is waking up, not loudly, not dramatically, but with absolute certainty. You were never designed to wait for permission. You feel it now, do not you? That quiet urgency under your skin, that sense that standing still suddenly feels heavier than moving. This is not impulse, this is alignment. There is a moment in every life when energy stops asking politely. When it does not knock anymore, it simply turns the light on. That is where you are. You have been circling a decision for a while now. You know exactly which one. The one you keep revisiting in your thoughts. The one that shows up when you are tired. The one that returns when everything goes quiet. You have delayed it not because you are afraid of action, but because you understand its power. Once you step into it, things will move fast. Faster than you can control. Faster than you can explain to others. And part of you has been trying to protect the calm you just earned. That makes sense. But here is the truth, spoken gently. This pause you are in is not meant to last. The energy around you right now is not supportive of waiting. It is supportive of motion. Clean motion, intentional motion, not reckless, not forced, aligned. You may notice that opportunities start lining up strangely. A conversation opens unexpectedly. An idea lands with clarity instead of confusion. A door appears where there was only a wall before. These are not coincidences. They are responses. Life is responding to your readiness. What feels like pressure is actually momentum building, like an arrow being pulled back. The tension is not the danger. The release is the destination. And yes, it may feel uncomfortable to act without every detail secured. But Aries, you were never meant to move only when everything feels safe. You were meant to move when it feels true. One small step taken now with honesty, with presence, with courage will create a ripple far larger than you expect. Not because the action is big, but because the timing is exact. This is the kind of moment that rearranges the future quietly. No applause, no announcement, just a shift. You will look back later and realize this was the point where everything began to accelerate, where resistance softened, where effort met flow. Do not underestimate what choosing yourself does to the timeline of your life. You are not being asked to leap blindly, only to stop pretending you do not know what you know. Listen to your body right now. It is leaning forward, not away. That is your signal. And as you allow this activation to move through you, you may notice your energy changing, less scattered, more focused, more alive. This is your fire remembering its direction. You are not late, you are not early. You are exactly where the spark catches. Stay with that feeling for just a little longer. Let it settle into your bones. Because once you begin moving from this place, from truth instead of pressure, from clarity instead of fear, something else begins to unfold naturally. A sense of renewal. A feeling of stepping into a version of yourself that no longer fights the current, but becomes it. And as that realization starts to take shape, you will notice that what once drained you no longer defines you. What once required effort begins to respond with ease. We are not naming it yet. We are letting it rise. Because the next phase does not begin with force. It begins with becoming. And you are already closer than you think. Aries, stay with me a little longer. You are moving into a quieter space now, not empty. Alive. Something in you is finally exhaling. For so long, your life felt like a series of battles. Even when nothing was visibly wrong, you stayed ready, alert. As if peace was something that had to be earned through effort. You learned how to push, how to endure, how to keep going when others stopped. But that version of you, the one always braced for impact, is beginning to loosen its grip. You may feel it in subtle ways, a softness where there used to be tension, a moment of calm that does not immediately disappear, a sense that you no longer need to explain yourself to be valid. This is not you becoming weaker, this is you becoming lighter. You are stepping out of the season where survival was the goal, out of the phase where you had to prove your worth through struggle, out of the constant tightening of your shoulders, your jaw, your heart. You are allowed to rest now without feeling guilty for it. There is a new rhythm finding you, slower, deeper, more intentional. You may notice that your energy no longer wants to chase everything. You are becoming selective, protective of your time, clear about what deserves your fire and what does not. This is rebirth, not loud, not dramatic, but unmistakable. Like the first green shoot breaking through soil after a long winter no one thought would end. You are entering a cycle where effort begins to meet response, where your work starts to show shape, where dreams stop living only in your imagination and begin to take form in the real world. Not overnight, but honestly, you will feel it when something clicks into place, when an idea feels grounded instead of distant, when progress no longer feels forced but natural. This is what happens when you stop fighting life and start moving with it. You are not starting over from nothing. You are starting from experience, from wisdom, from everything you survived and learned along the way. And that changes the outcome entirely. The version of you emerging now does not need to rush, does not need to compete, does not need to prove. They know who they are. There is a quiet confidence growing in you, not the kind that demands attention, the kind that does not need it. You may still feel moments of doubt. That is human, but they pass more quickly now. They do not settle the way they used to, because something inside you finally believes that it is safe to move forward without armor. The dreams you once postponed, the ones you told yourself you would return to later, are stirring again. Not as fantasies, as possibilities. They feel closer now, more reachable, because you are closer to yourself. And as you stand in this space between who you were and who you are becoming, notice how different the air feels, less heavy, more open. This is the beginning of a chapter where your strength is no longer spent on holding yourself together, but on creating a life that holds you back. We are not naming everything yet. We are allowing it to unfold naturally, without pressure, because the next layer of this journey does not ask you to fight for growth. It invites you to receive it. And as you take another breath here, you may sense it, that gentle pull forward towards something tangible, something supportive, something that finally meets you where you stand. Not as a test, but as an answer to everything you have been becoming. Aries, let your breath slow down right here. There is a different kind of energy moving towards you now. Quieter than emotion, heavier than hope. Real. This is not wishful thinking. It is not imagination trying to comfort you. It is substance. For a long time, abundance felt like something you had to chase, something always just out of reach. You worked harder, pushed further, told yourself that if you just held on a little longer, it would arrive. But what is coming to you now does not respond to effort alone. It responds to openness. There is a flow beginning to move in your direction. Not loudly, not dramatically, almost humbly. And that is why it may be easy to miss at first. You may expect it to arrive in a familiar form, through a path you already understand, through a door you have been knocking on for years. But this time, it chooses a different entrance. It may come as an unexpected conversation, a connection that feels oddly aligned, a chance you did not plan for but cannot ignore. It may show up as relief before it shows up as numbers, as stability before it looks like success, as a sense of being supported before it looks like gain. And that can be confusing because your mind wants to control the story, to map the how, to calculate the steps. But this moment is not asking for control, it is asking for trust. You do not need to know exactly where this comes from. You only need to recognize how it feels when it arrives. There will be a moment when something clicks, when your body relaxes instead of tightening, when your breath deepens without effort. That is your signal. This is not luck, and it is not reward handed out randomly. It is response, a response to the work you did when no one was watching, to the resilience you built quietly, to the integrity you chose even when it cost you. Prosperity is not only about money, it is about energy circulating back to you after years of being spent outward. You may notice that when this flow begins, you no longer feel the same urgency to prove yourself. You are less desperate for validation, more grounded in your value. That is how you know this is real. What arrives now has weight. It stays, it grows, and yes, it can take material form. It can touch your finances, your work, your sense of security, but it does so without draining you. This is not the kind of success that burns you out. It is the kind that steadies you, There may be a temptation to question it, to wonder if it will last, to prepare for disappointment. That is old programming. You do not have to armor yourself against good things anymore. Let yourself receive without apology, without explanation, without shrinking the moment. You are not taking from anyone. You are finally allowing balance to be restored, and as this current continues to move, you may notice something subtle shifting inside you. Your relationship with effort changes. Your relationship with worth changes. You stop measuring yourself by struggle. This is abundance arriving with maturity, with timing, with respect. Stay present as it unfolds. Do not rush it. Do not force it into a shape it is not meant to be. Because what comes next is not just about what you gain. It is about who you are allowed to become when survival is no longer the main focus. And as this sense of stability begins to anchor in your life, it creates space. Space for connection. Space for softness. Space for something deeply human that has been waiting for you on the other side of effort. We are moving toward that now, not suddenly, but naturally. And you will feel it when your heart recognizes it before your mind ever does. Aries, let your heart soften for a moment. Not in weakness, in honesty. Because this part of the journey touches a place you rarely speak about out loud. The place where you loved without armor. Where you gave more than you received. Where you stayed longer than you should have, because you believed in potential, because you believed in people, because you believed love could heal what effort could not. You have always loved deeply. That was never your mistake. You showed up with your whole heart. You were present. You were loyal. You held space when others pulled away. And yes, you were hurt. Not once, not lightly. There were moments when your strength became a shield because it felt safer to be strong than to admit how much something mattered to you. But listen to me closely now. None of that love was wasted, not a single ounce. Every time you loved sincerely, you were teaching your heart how to stay open even in a world that often rewards distance. That matters. What is unfolding now does not arrive to erase the past. It does not come to replace anyone. It comes to restore balance. There is a connection forming around you or reforming in a way you did not expect, and it feels different, quieter, safer, more grounded. This is not the kind of bond that asks you to perform. It does not require you to be strong every second. It does not demand proof of worth. It meets you where you are. You may notice that around this energy, your nervous system relaxes, your breath deepens, your guard lowers without effort. That is how you know this is real. Love that heals does not rush you. It does not challenge your value. It does not make you question your instincts. It feels like permission. Permission to be human. Permission to rest. Permission to show up as yourself without explaining why. And if this connection has not fully revealed itself yet, that does not mean it is not present. Sometimes it arrives as a feeling first, a sense that you are no longer alone in the way you were before, a quiet knowing that support is closer than it used to be. This is the universe responding to the way you loved even when it hurt, not with a copy of the past, but with something more aligned, more mature, more reciprocal. You are not being asked to forget what you learned. You are being invited to apply it differently. You will recognize this connection because it does not drain you. It does not confuse you. It does not leave you wondering where you stand. It holds you steady. And in that steadiness, something beautiful happens. You begin to trust yourself again. Not just your strength, but your sensitivity, your intuition, your capacity to feel deeply without losing yourself. That is healing. And as your heart recalibrates, you may notice old wounds loosening, not because they are forced to, but because they no longer need protection. This is love arriving with timing, with intention, with respect for everything you have been through. It is not dramatic. It is not overwhelming. It is right. Stay open to it, without expectation, without comparison. Because this connection, whether already present or quietly approaching, is not here to change who you are. It is here to remind you that who you are has always been enough. And as this sense of emotional safety settles into your life, it prepares you for something deeper still. A closing, a completion, a moment where you realize the hardest part of the journey is finally behind you. We are moving toward that understanding now, slowly, gently, and you will feel it when your heart stops bracing and starts trusting that what remains is meant to stay. Aries, stay with me here at the end of this road, not the end of the story, but the end of the struggle. There is a quiet truth settling into your life now, one that does not need to announce itself, one that does not need proof. The war is over. Not the kind people could see, the kind you fought inside, day after day, year after year. You no longer wake up bracing yourself for impact. You no longer move through life carrying armor you forgot you were wearing. You no longer feel responsible for saving everyone at the cost of yourself. That chapter has closed, and what replaces it is not emptiness. It is stability, the kind that lets your nervous system finally rest, the kind that allows your breath to deepen without effort, the kind that makes the world feel less sharp around the edges. You are stepping into a phase where growth does not require suffering, where progress does not demand sacrifice of your well-being, where strength no longer means endurance alone. It means sustainability. You will notice it in small ways first, in the way your days feel less heavy, in the way decisions come with clarity instead of tension, in the way your body responds with ease instead of resistance. This is not coincidence, it is alignment catching up to you. There is a foundation forming beneath your feet, solid, quiet, reliable. A place where your efforts are met with results, where your work feeds you back instead of draining you, where your environment supports the person you are becoming. You are no longer surviving from moment to moment. You are building something that lasts, and no one handed this to you. You earned it, through resilience, through honesty, through choosing to keep going even when the path felt unfair. This is not temporary luck. It is the natural outcome of courage sustained over time. You may still carry memories of the struggle. That is human, but they no longer define your future. They become wisdom. They become boundaries. They become quiet reminders of how far you have come. There is dignity in this phase of your life, a calm authority, a confidence that does not need to raise its voice. You will feel it when you walk into rooms, when you speak less and mean more, when you stop explaining yourself and start trusting your presence. This is your reward, not a finish line, a new way of living, one where your fire warms instead of burns, where your ambition creates instead of consumes, where your heart stays open without being exposed. You are not being asked to slow down. You are being invited to move with intention, to choose growth that honors your limits, to build a life that gives back as much as you give. And as you settle into this steadiness, there will be moments when you pause and realize that the hardest part is truly behind you, that you are safe now, supported now, seen by yourself in a way you were not before. Take that in, let it land. You do not need to rush into what comes next. It will meet you naturally because you are no longer chasing from lack. You are standing in alignment, and from this place, everything that arrives does so with purpose. So, stay here for a breath. In this knowing, in this quiet victory, you have crossed through fire and emerged not hardened, but whole. And whatever unfolds from here will be built on peace, not pressure. That is the gift. That is the reward. And this is only the beginning of living from a place that finally feels like home. Aries. Before you leave, let this truth settle in. If you felt seen in this message, if something inside you softened, even just a little, then this was never just a video. It was a reminder that your strength was never meant to destroy you, that your fire was never meant to burn alone, that everything you walked through had meaning, even the nights you thought no one noticed. Take a breath here. Feel your feet on the ground. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. And this next chapter, the one opening quietly in front of you, will ask for less struggle and offer more truth. If your heart resonated, let me know in the comments. Your story matters here. Subscribe if you feel called. This space is for you. For Aries who are done surviving and ready to live with intention, trust yourself. You have always known the way. And remember this, the journey does not end here. Another message is already forming. Another layer is ready to unfold. Until then, stay grounded, stay open, and stay close. Because the next message may arrive sooner than you think.